Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown, Dunkirk, and Westfield, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives, to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hi everybody, I'm Doc Hamels, and good morning and good afternoon wherever you are and wherever you're watching or listening from. Well, little soggy day today. What are you gonna do? At least the weather is kind of on the warmer side. Well, if you are watching us somewhere in the world, thanks for joining us. We do stream live, and I understand we might be streaming over to England today, so we'll find out here later. Good morning to those of you who are watching us live here on channel 1301, or if you're watching us live on our live feed. I say good afternoon to all my listeners on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people. Thanks for joining us Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. If you're driving through Jamestown and you're in your car or wherever, Tuesdays 1 o'clock. Thanks guys for airing us. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. I know, like I said, it's kind of gray out there, but did you notice the days and nights are kind of looking the same really quick? The morning, gosh, it was dark this morning around 7 o'clock. I couldn't believe it. And 7 o'clock last night was really dark again. And it was cloudy, but gosh, the days are getting really short quick. Coming through our area, folks. Open up the windows. Grape season is full bore. I noticed it a couple days ago. I was driving through there and wow, just the whole aroma of Concord grapes they're harvesting, and they kind of beat the grapes up a little bit when they're picking them, and whew, it's so good, so good. And along with that, I always mention, because of my own personal experience, and I won't go into that, but these folks are trying to get their crop in. They're zooming around. They're on the highways and the byways, and you need to be aware of that. And they're running around in little tractors and little carts and things like that. So give them a break. Be careful when you're driving down, especially Route 20 and 5, anywhere from Northeast PA up into Silver Creek. That's the whole grape belt, and inland a little bit. But you're going to see semis with grape bins. You're going to see the grape pickers, the grape things that look like something out of Star Wars. They're going to go down the road. Just be patient. You can get around them. They'll pull over for you, but just be careful because it's easy to get congested there or even have an accident. So keep everybody safe. Grape season is in full swing. All right. It's October, which means you're going to get a lot of things from the insurance companies. I think my personal best is like 9 different companies at our house in a given day. But I mentioned that because we had folks here not too long ago from the Office for the Aging Services. And if you have questions about Medicare or just insurances in general, give them a call over there and they'll help you out. Along with that, October is also the time of the year that we encourage everybody to remember. I get my right hand going here. Is our pink bow here to remind me to talk about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. All right, and for anybody, men or women, doesn't matter. If you have a concern, make sure you get your mammogram. And ladies, whatever your doctors tell you, follow them, will you? That's why you pay them. One of my underwriters is the Westfield Memorial Hospital that you saw earlier in the beginning of the show. They have in their possession, I'm going to say this carefully, models of the human breast that are set up that you can actually feel and touch what a potential breast cancer tumor would feel like. But you didn't know that. We talked about this a year or two ago. My Rotary Club, the Westfield Mayville Rotary Club, wrote a grant while I was club president at the time, and we donated the funds to get these models. So you can get your mammogram anywhere you want. I'm just letting you know that I'm throwing a little bit of attention to Westfield Memorial Hospital because they have these models, and I think they're phenomenal because, you know, so many times they say, well, what am I feeling for? What's it feel like? And they have different sizes and what a normal breast should feel like. And they're latex, I believe, and they feel quite real. So check it out. But nonetheless, folks, please get your mammogram. And guys, if you have any concern, you feel something in your own breast, get it checked out because men can get breast cancer. Along with the comment about my Rotary Club is collecting unused, brand new, hopefully still with the original envelope, Christmas cards. We're getting ready for another round of cards to go out to folks that are shut-ins, senior citizens, the veterans at the various medical centers, anybody that really needs a card, like folks maybe on meals that get Meals on Wheels, stuff like that. Christmas cards we sign from our club and we get them out to everybody. And if you do have cards, please give Linda Dunn a call over in Westfield, or you can contact me here at the studio. We'll figure a way to get them from you. All right, so I know a lot of us are thinking about the holidays pretty soon here. And a lot of times we don't want to use the cards we used from last year. You don't know what to do with them. We'll take them and we'll repurpose them. Okay? Brand new cards with original envelopes. Please let us have your cards. Okay, a bunch of announcements to share with you coming up this very day, I believe. Today's the 9th, right? Got that right for a change. A lot of times I don't know what day it is. Okay, starting today at 1:30 and at 7:30. You can watch the Chautauqua Candidates program right here on this channel. And you will see a guy who looks just like me interviewing P.J. Wendell. And he's running for county executive again. So that's at 1:30 and 7:30 today. Today also, David Sally is running for county clerk. His show will be aired at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Again, I interviewed him. And finally, at 12:30 and 6:30 every day, today and throughout the week, Norm Green, he's running for county executive. You can watch those interviews. I point this out to you because Chris Burt produces this every year, and we think that it's important that you have an opportunity to see the person behind the political sign that you always pass on the way along the highways. So P.J. Wendell, David, Sally, and Norm Green, you can see these three gentlemen throughout the week at those various times. And right here on Access Chautauqua, Channel 1301. Our friends at the Chautauqua Hometown Heroes Veterans Memorial, who just had their dedication recently, 2 things on that. They have a chicken and biscuit dinner It's a take and go only. Next Saturday, October 16th at 1 p.m. at the VFW. I'm assuming that's in Mayville. Yep. All right, so Saturday, October 16th, 1 p.m. at the VFW. $10 only. And it benefits the memorial. All right, so that's coming up. So you may want to do that. That's pretty good price. Oh, so the guys went down to the memorial service, dedication service this week, and they have produced a program. And you can see this starting October 16th, next Saturday, at 12:45 and 6:45 daily p.m. throughout that week. So, and they had quite a nice ceremony. So again, starting next week, 12:45 p.m. and 6:45 p.m., you can watch the dedication for the Chautauqua Hometown Heroes Veterans Memorial. I got it right last week. I messed it up. All right. We got some slides and some things to talk about here, so let's get right to it, Jeff. Upcoming events at Infinity Center in Pearl City Playhouse. Okay, October 22nd, 6 to 9 p.m. The Infinity and Recycled Desk Organizer Project. I don't know anything about this. Let's see what this is all about. Then it's Tuesday at the 26th, so I'm a little confused. So must go from the 22nd to the 26th. 6:30 to 8:30, a virtual Zoom event. Okay? Help me here. All right. Hang on. Oh, here it is. Felted Friends Halloween Special. All right, so they're going to do some projects Friday, October 22nd, 6 to 9 p.m. through the 26th. This is chopped up, 6:30 to 8:30 that day for the actual Zoom event. All right, so they're doing a project with Felt for Halloween. Whew. If you saw what I saw, you'd understand why I'm doing this. All right, register at Pearl City PearlCityClayHouse.org for both events. So one's live and the other one's a Zoom. All right, so then they have some live stream kaleidoscope performances. So they're saying here to tune in Infinity's Facebook page at 7 p.m. Upcoming episodes, October 28th, November 18th, December 23rd. Kaleidoscope nights are an ever-changing but interesting mix featuring a wide variety of performers such as Infinity music, poetry, dance, theater, students with their instructors or other invited guests from the community. The show is always different, and registration for new students is going on for voice, music, art, and a whole lot more. So, bottom line, you got some events with the Pearl City Playhouse. They're making some Halloween things with felt. You got the kaleidoscope performances that you're going to see at 7 o'clock on October 28th, 18th, and 23rd. Woo! I put that together. All right, Chautauqua Center, our friends over there, are holding a month-long event to make it easier for patients to get mammograms. We were just talking about that. Chautauqua Brooks, TLC, Hospital System, and the Windsong Mobile Unit to provide expedited mammogram imaging for current and new patients during Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. If existing patients and new patients schedule a clinical breast exam called a CBE with their TCC doctor, the Chautauqua Center doctor, and are issued a prescription for a mammogram, they will be eligible to have the imaging done on one of the following mammogram-me days. They have that funny little word, mammogram-me, days, dates, and locations. So here we go. UPMC Chautauqua Radiology Department, Jamestown, on November 4, all day. Windsong Mobile Unit at the National Comedy Center, November 5, all day. Brooks TLC Hospital System in Dunkirk on November 8th, all day. And they say here, when planning this event, we were thinking about what holds people back when it comes to getting a mammogram. It can be the inconvenience. It can be the length of the wait for an appointment. They can be scared. Through this month-long event and with our dates in November, we want to make it as easy as possible for our patients to get a mammogram, if necessary. We are even providing transportation to and from the mammograms on those dates. And this is from Michael Pease, the Chautauqua Center CEO. All right, let's see here. Due to COVID-19 and the increased cases from variants, they decided to avoid gathering people together for their annual mammogramming event. As you know, they have giveaways and things like that in the past. Instead, they're offering these 3 mammogrammy days for their patients and working to get those patients mammograms and appointments at a time. Okay, women 16 years of age and over are encouraged to get an annual clinical breast exam. People of all genders over the age of 40 should get an annual clinical breast exam and mammogram if necessary. Self-breast exams are encouraged at any time. Screenings, procedures, and concerns should always be discussed with a physician. Hey, if you want more information, give them a call at 484-4334. 484-4334. All right, moving along. The Jamestown Pride Committee will hold its annual J Pride Autumn event, 7 to 9 p.m., October 15th. That's coming up at the Robert H. Jackson Center. The event will feature speakers, entertainments, coffee and snacks from the Labyrinth Press Company, and an open mic with prompts to tell your story. There will also be door prizes with extra entries for sharing your story or donating to next year's Pride Festival. Held in collaboration with the Fenton Historical Society and the Robert H. Jackson Center, this year's event will be a J Pride coffee house and highlight stories of coming out and being in the LGBTQIA plus community in Chautauqua County. Anyone who wishes to speak can sign up and receive a prompt to speak at the open mic. There will be door prizes and baskets from businesses who support Pride. Door prize entries are $5, with proceeds benefiting Jamestown Pride Fest 2022. Anyone who shares their story or fills out a survey about the 2021 Pride Fest event will receive an automatic entry. Events Committee Co-Chair Emily Van Way, who was on the show not too long ago, if you remember, said, "I am so excited to see the community support throughout the Chautauqua County and the support of they have for Pride from our local businesses." Events co-chair Rudy Andalora said, "The overwhelming response to Pride in June is something we are planning to continue with this event. This event will be more intimate and about our community learning about itself." Okay, so if you want more information, of course, go to their Facebook page. So it's simply Jamestown Pride. They'll get you there. All right, movies. The Eyes of Tammy Faye and Candyman to be at the Reg Lene. So let me give you the quick rundown on these guys. The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I haven't heard this one. It's going to be shown on October 13th at 7 p.m. Stars Oscar winner Jessica Chastain as the title character in the 1970s and 80s. Tammy Faye and her husband, Jim Baker, who's portrayed by Andrew Garfield, rose from humble beginnings to create the world's largest religious broadcasting network and theme park. Somehow those two just don't seem to go together to me. Anyways, and were revered for the message of love, acceptance, and prosperity. Tammy Faye was legendary for her indelible eyelashes. I don't know how she could wear those. Her idiosyncratic singing and her eagerness to embrace people from all walks of life. However, it wasn't long before financial improprieties, scheming rivals, and scandal toppled their carefully constructed empire. The Eyes of Tammy Faye is PG-13. It's 126 minutes long. Now, The Candyman is director Nia DaCosta's direct sequel to the 1992 film of the same name. Why, I don't know. For as long as residents can remember, the housing projects of Chicago's Cabrini Green neighborhood were terrorized by a word-of-mouth ghost story about a supernatural killer with a hook for a hand, Justin. Easily summoned those daring to repeat his name. It's like Beetlejuice. I won't say it the third time. Repeat his name 5 times into a mirror. In present day, a decade after the last of the Cabrini Towers were torn down, visual artist and his girlfriend moved into a luxury loft condo in Cabrini, now gentrified beyond recognition and inhabited by the upwardly mobile millennials. The film stars, I can't pronounce this. Anyways, there's a bunch of really cool actors. Their name's like this long. It's 91 minutes long, it's R-rated. So, what's the deal here? Oh, this one's coming up. Upcoming screenings include a special engagement of the Rocky Horror Picture Show on October 29th at 10 p.m. Tickets are $7, and you have to pay an extra $1 for theater restoration, and they can be purchased 12 to 5 p.m. Daily, no, not daily, Monday and Friday only, and 12 to 8 on Wednesdays. So Mondays and Fridays, 12 to 5, Wednesdays, 12 to 8. Give them a call at 484-7070, 484-7070, and you go online at theregilene.com. Okay, it's on 3rd Street. That's coming up. Then, this one I saw, I thought, gee, this would be fun to discuss. This comes from the Cooperative Extension. They were on not too long ago. If you have a certain interest in this, bee classes, introduction to beekeeping. The Cornell Cooperative Extension of Chautauqua County's agricultural program is excited to announce the fall 2021 Leaf Workshop, Introduction to Beekeeping. This course is scheduled for October 20th. It's a Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The series is open to beginning farmers, established farms looking to diversify and grow, agricultural enthusiasts, homesteaders, and everyone in between. Honeybees are amazing creatures. Have you ever considered what it might be like to have your own hives of bees? You could become a beekeeper. Getting started or even knowing if this is the right fit for you may seem a bit overwhelming. Luckily, here in Chautauqua County, we have some generous and very knowledgeable beekeepers. Dennis and Laura LaMonica have offered to share their expertise as part of the Cornell Cooperative Extension's Fall Leaf Program. Our introduction to beekeeping workshop will inform you of all you need to know to make an educated decision about how and if you want to start a hive of your own. The emphasis of this presentation will be informing potential beekeepers about what to expect, how to prepare, and what is required of the beekeeper, and so on. So there's a whole list of things you're going to learn about. If you're interested, give them a call at 664-9502. Okay? 664-9502. And they'll get you all set up. You know, there's not a whole lot of bees these days. They're saying that they're disappearing for a variety of reasons. And we live in an agricultural area. Without these bees, we're in trouble. Some folks in Ripley I know raise bees, not far from my home. And quite a process. So if you're interested, check it out. Slide 19, Jeff, sing along. I'm not going to do it. I was going to do it, but I'm not going to do it. The interactive movies screening, sing along, A Sound of Music. I was going to belt out, we're just supposed to do it, just too early. We'll show Saturday, October 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Regilene Center for the Arts. The heartwarming Julie Andrews film based on the real life story of the Von Trapp family singers will be shown in full screen Technicolor with lyric subtitles that the audience can sing along to. Justin, this is right up your alley. The hills are alive. Yeah, you can do that. Audience members are encouraged to dress as their favorite characters from the film. Nope. What? Let's see, what would I dress up as? I get a yodeler or somebody. The event begins with the host, Sister Adam Owens, leading the audience with a vocal warm-up. Adam Owens is just such fun to be with. And if you haven't had an opportunity to see Adam on my show, he's been Santa Claus for the various events down there. He's an actor, he's a director, he's a great singer, just a lot of fun. So again, the event begins with Sister Adam Owens leading the audience through a vocal warm-up and a costume competition. After, moviegoers are shown how to use items in a free interactive props bag. I don't know what that means. They become the stars of the show as they sing along with the movie's timeless songs by Rodgers and Hammerstein. These include, Do Re Mi, My Favorite Things, Edelweiss, So Long Farewell, and the title song. Believe it or not, we used to do Edelweiss years ago in another band I was in. Tickets are only $20 for adults and $12 for patrons, age 18 and younger. Seating is general admission. What fun that should be. All right, so again, that's going to be October 23rd, 6 p.m. Give them a call at the box office, 484-7070. All right, and finally, have another side, parenting classes. As you know, these folks do a lot of work with families and parents and kiddos. And if you've got some teenagers, you might want to check this out. All right. Parents Stay Positive with Triple P Positive Parenting Program. Say that 10 times fast. Our free 2-hour discussion groups can help you identify some of the reasons for the problem behavior, including parent traps. Keep track of the problem behavior, using positive parenting strategies for preventing the problem behavior, encouraging good behavior. There's a lot of P's in that one. Use positive parenting strategies for dealing with the problem behavior if it happens. Continue to refine their parenting plans. Each discussion group can be taken as a standalone session or as part of a series. Register now. And on the screen, for those of you who can watch, there are various dates. For those of you who are listening on the radio, I'll just give you the quick dates on this. December 18th, Getting Teenagers to Cooperate. On the 25th, it's Coping with Teen Emotions. On November 1, it's Building Teen Survival Skills. November 8th, it's Reducing Family Conflict. Classes are free, guys. Classes will be held at Mental Health Association Gateway Center building at 31 Water Street, Suite 7 in Jamestown. And you can contact Tracy Jesperson for more information. Give him a call, 664-3608. That's it. I'm done. And we're going to be right back. This is for you.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
And we're back. Folks, I have a privilege and a pleasure today to have a fellow Ripleyite or Ripleyite, it depends on where you're from, to join me today. She's a local author. She shows up in lots of places. She does lots of community volunteerism, and I want to welcome to the show Robyn near Albright. Good morning.
Good morning, Doc.
We got here finally.
We got here, thank you.
We had a mix-up in emails and a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm glad you're here.
Thank
Seems to me some time ago you said to me, can I be on your show because I'm writing a book? And I said, yeah, sure. And that was some time ago, wasn't it?
That was quite a while ago, yeah. I approached several people about, can I present this? And the book hadn't even been started yet.
Right.
I thought it was going to be a lot easier than it actually was.
And we'll get to that in a little bit. Robyn, tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the adventures you've been on, perhaps, throughout your life.
I was born and raised here in Ripley, and I lived here until I was, newly married, and I moved away. I lived in Minnesota for 30 years. I also lived in Ohio and New Hampshire for short periods of time, but Minnesota kind of became my home. And when I was out there, I got into some writing for some newsletters. I started the Ramsey County Daycare Association newsletter, and I contributed to the Cadillac Club newsletter. We went to the antique car show at the State Fairgrounds one year, and my husband Bob saw what year was it? A 57 Cadillac that he just had to have. I wrote an article about it called The Green-Eyed Monster. She was a two-tone, beautiful, long Cadillac with wings.
Oh my gosh, back in the day, it was like the Batmobile.
Yeah. So anyway, he had to have it, so we bought it, and we used it every Saturday night and cruised up and down the strip with all the other antique cars. And they had a LaSalle Cadillac Club that we joined.
See, it's not easy to talk on Saturday morning.
It isn't. It's no. Wait, let me get a drink.
Here's your coffee there.
So anyway, I started writing for them a little bit. My writing career started when I was 11. I took it upon myself to write a family newsletter, and it was just a piece of tablet paper that you ripped off with all the rough edges. And I wrote about a family feud that my father and my uncle were having at the time. Put that right there on paper. And I wrote about my sister's birthday party on the 4th of July, complete with a guest list, because that was the thing back then.
So you distributed this, or it was more like a memoir?
No, it was meant to be distributed, but I don't think my mother let it go anywhere. And it even had a weather report for the day.
How nice.
Yes, yes, that was my one and only venture into the family newsletter.
So, what took you to Minnesota? I mean, Ripley, Minnesota. I mean, they're not like.
Well, between Ripley and Minnesota was New Hampshire and Ohio.
Oh, okay. So you're kind of bouncing around a little
Yeah, my husband at the time had jobs
Okay.
several different places. He had a job offer in Minnesota. We went there. A year later, the job disappeared, and we were stuck there because we couldn't afford to leave.
Okay.
So we, for 7 years, I decided I was not gonna join anything, not gonna get to know anybody, because we weren't gonna stay. So 7 years later, I thought maybe I should get to know some people.
Get into the fabric.
Yeah.
So, I think you have children?
I have a daughter who lives in Minnesota. She's in a Minneapolis suburb. And I have a son who lives in Southampton, England.
England?
Yes.
What brought him to England?
Facebook romance.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
He met a young woman, and they fell in love, and he ended up in England. He loves it there. Matter of fact, he's probably watching. Hi, Matt. I'm hoping I have several viewers over in England. I have several friends there who know about the interview today. So,
Wonderful.
yeah, so hopefully
And
they're watching.
so that's why you go to England from time to time.
Yes,
Because
yes.
I know that you'll say, because we're on the mutual board of directors, and I know that you've been out of town a couple times. I didn't realize that's why.
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right. So your family was from Ripley. Was that multi-generational, or?
My mother's family was multi-generational. My dad's family came out of Sherman,
Okay, and what was your mom's maiden name?
Lanphier.
Landfear. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Landfears. I didn't know
Oh,
that.
yeah.
No, I don't say that in that way. I just meant, oh, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
there's certain families that are just long-term
Yeah.
families.
I mean, there were 10 kids in that family.
Right. Well, and if you go back into history, the Landfears have been around for a long time. I've seen back to the mid-1800s, I believe, anyways.
I have some family histories where the Lanphier family came to this country in the 1600s.
Yeah.
Mid 1640, I think, was the date. The Neers, my dad's side, were a little later. They came in the early 1700s.
Oh, wow. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, so you had your family out in Minnesota. So why are you back in Ripley?
I came back to help take care of my folks.
Ah, okay.
My mom was becoming ill, and my siblings, were concerned, and I was too. So my husband and I were at a point where we could uproot if we wanted to, and we moved back here to take care of my mom. And after she passed away, then I was here to take care of my dad.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I'm just filling in the blanks here.
that's okay.
All right.
My dad, in his 70s, I think he was, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he took a mini cassette recorder and decided to record every memory he ever had growing up. He was working at Mogan David as a security guard and had a lot of extra time on his hands. So he'd sit and he'd record, in this little thing. And then one day he said to me, well, why don't you transcribe that for me so I can read it? I said, okay. So I went through his tapes and I transcribed what he had written. And then he decided we should write a book.
We.
Yeah, we should write a book, yes. So I said, okay, and I sat with him and I tried to go through the transcript and ask him for details on this event or that event, and he'd go off on 12 different tangents, and I got nothing done. This was 10 years ago that we started this, and eventually I went home and I said, okay, well, I'm going to work on it at home. And I kept procrastinating, and he kept, bringing in other stories. And he finally said to me, well, I'm going to be dead and gone before you get that book written. Well, he's been gone 6 years now.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that it's that long.
Yeah, and I finally got the book done.
Okay.
So I hope he's looking down and approves. I did the best I could, Dad.
So this is a joint project between you and your dad.
Yes.
More or less.
Yes. My dad's words, quoted word for word from the tapes,
Yeah.
are in this book. He tells his own story.
Fascinating.
And I filled in the details. And then I added stories of how his life affected my life.
Okay.
Because particularly if you grow up in an abusive home or neglected, those things are learned behaviors, and you oftentimes pass them on to your own children. So I couldn't just write his transcript. It would have no meaning other than to, you know,
You
his
put it
children.
into context, yeah.
To put it into context of what happened to him and how he reacted when his kids came along, and I can't write for my siblings. I don't know what their experience was.
No, well,
So-
how would you? How
yeah,
would you?
so this
is
is-
your take
Yeah,
on it.
this is me and my dad and how his life affected my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Another guest that's been on my show, Patricia Peel, I don't know if you know her. She's here in Mayville, and she does similar things, but she does it for other people as a business. But so you're doing it as a thing to your dad. Is this your first book?
This is my first book.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I have a book that's sitting at home in my computer. It's a kid's book, and I still want to. I look at it once in a while, and I think, well, I should do something with this. But nonetheless, so what's the book called?
Well, the book is called Jump on the Running Board. It's a memoir of my father, Bill Neer, and me. And I have to give credit where credit is due. I joined a writers group at the Ripley Library, and Mary Ellen Humphrey started the group and was the facilitator. And I put in my book. Without her, this book may never have seen the light of day.
Why?
She inspired me to get this down on paper, that it wasn't just his story, it was my story, and to start writing what I felt about different events and different things that happened during our lives together. And an assignment every week was to have something
Ooh,
written.
Taskmasters.
Yes, so every week I had a story of, you know, my experience with my dad.
Did you at some point feel like, so what? So what? Why would I want to put a book together for the world to see?
No,
I always felt that it was an important story.
I always felt it was important. Mostly because of the transition. I hated my father when I was growing up. He was judgmental. He was ill-tempered. I just felt I had the worst childhood in the whole world. Obviously, I did not, but and it's a love story. I put that on the back. It's a love story between father and daughter that took place over 60 years.
Did he know that in the end?
Not in those words. I think he knew how close we had become. And he confided things in me that he never told anybody, including my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of made me feel like I was really something special.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. And so you're sharing that through this book now.
I am.
So there must have been a point in time. When was it that you reconciled all these feelings? Was this as an adult?
As an adult, he was just a very, hands-off kind of person. I'd come home to visit from Minnesota, and he'd go sit on the couch or lay on the couch in the other room and let my mom and me talk. And
right. Women's talk.
Yeah. He really didn't have any contact with me. He got, I think it was prostate cancer at the time, and he didn't trust the doctors here. And I happened to know somebody who knew somebody who was a cancer urology specialist in St. Paul. So he came out to St. Paul
Wow.
to have his surgery. And, I nursed him and took care of whatever he needed, when he was here with me in St. Paul. And another time he decided he was going to go to his 50th ship reunion.
Oh, yeah.
He was on the USS Izzard in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And the reunion was in Sioux City, Iowa. So he took a train out to St. Paul, and then I drove him the 275 miles, whatever it was, to Sioux City to this reunion. And I'm sitting on the veranda of the hotel, and I'm having a good time talking to all these old vets, and they're telling me war stories and whatnot. And about a half hour later, my dad comes out, and he says, "All right, let's go." I said, "What? We just got here." "Yeah, damn bunch of liars." When you
called him out.
When you talk, you tell the absolute unvarnished truth. You don't embellish it. And these guys were telling war stories. You know,
Whoppers,
and as you age, the story becomes bigger and more
10
colorful.
became 100 and 100 became 1,000, right?
He did not book with that at all, so we left after a half hour or an hour maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Fascinating. All right, and it's interesting where there's critical points in our lives where we do come close because we depend on each other, or there's just that synergy that takes place. So was it the generation that was tough, or was it just him? Because my dad was of the same generation, and my mother made him the disciplinarian. And that wasn't Dad's role. He was very uncomfortable with that. He was a fun-loving guy, but so right till your father gets home, you know, and he had to be this tough guy.
I think it was a generational thing, because I've talked to a lot of people whose parents were about my dad's age.
Yeah.
They grew up during the Depression.
Yep.
I mean, life was hard.
What year was he born?
1925.
Yep, my dad was 1923.
And, you know, it was just tough. And the fact that not only was it the Depression, his parents split up when he was 3 years old. It was very acrimonious.
Yeah.
There was a lot of snatching back and forth. He went to live with his grandfather for a while, and he tells it in the book. It was the best time of his life, because his grandfather hired a woman named Pearl who took care of them, cooked for them and cleaned and everything. Well, Pearl was my dad's best friend and confidant, and you know, she was great. He just loved her. But then the father got remarried, and his stepmother absolutely hated him.
Oh, man.
She was horrible to him. He tells a story in here about going out and doing maple syruping or something with a family friend, Elmer Gabriel. All of this takes place in Sherman, by the way.
Okay.
So, you know, if you're listening in Sherman, you might come across a lot of names that you're familiar with.
Gabriel's a common name.
Yeah, well, Elmer Gabriel says, "Hey, Billy, look there. Look at them. They're good to eat." And Dad says, "What are they?" "Oh, them are leeks." So my dad picks some leeks out of the ground and brushes off the dirt and eats them. Really liked them. So he goes home and he's sitting at the dinner table, and his stepmother says, "What's that I smell on your breath?" And he goes, "Well, them are leeks. Elmer said they were really good." And she said, "Don't you ever come to the table again with that smell on your breath." "Okay, Ma." So a year later, they're out doing the maple syrup thing, and Elmer says, "Hey, Billy, look at there. Them's good to eat." And "No, them are leeks. I'm not allowed to have them." "No, them ain't leeks. Those are green. Those are wild onions." So my dad takes them and he eats them. He gets to the dinner table that night. His stepmother says, "I thought I told you never to come to the table with that smell on your..." Them aren't leeks, Ma. They're green onions." She reached across the table, grabbed him, pulled him over the table, threw him on the floor, and started beating him with her fist. She broke his nose. His dad was there at the table. He finally grabbed a hold of her, cold cocked her, knocked her into the milk separator, which is a metal thing, knocked her out cold. And she was out for about an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the kind of
Violence.
childhood he grew up with.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
So, and as you say, that forms the child, that forms the man down the road. Wow.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, everybody he ever loved was taken away from him.
Yeah.
His mother when he was 3. Pearl, the housekeeper, died when he had run away from home. He was 16. She passed away. His father died when he was 20. His grandfather died when he was 21. His father died when he was 22.
Lots of loss there.
Lots of loss. And he always said he could never tell his children he loved them, because if anything ever happened to them, he wouldn't be able to handle it.
Ooh. So being the gruff guy.
Yeah. So he never, ever did he say, "I love you." He could say he liked you. So one time when he was with me, actually when he went for his surgery, I was following the gurney to the doors and holding his hand, and he's ready to go through for his surgery, and I said, "I like you, Dad." And his eyes teared up. And he just went through the door, and that was it.
You know, I'm sitting here and I'm running parallel with my own dad. My dad was, you saw him in the beginning edits or credits there. You probably didn't even notice. It was a gentleman with a military cap, ball cap. That was my dad. He passed at 94 years of age, and he was very similar to that. He wasn't a guy that was a touchy-feely guy, and it wasn't until years later, like in his 90s, he would come up and he would give me a bear hug and just squeeze the juice right out of me. But because it got to the point he could do that.
Yeah.
But he was, like I said, he was sort of supposed to be this, whatever this was, and tough guy, and ex-military and all that other stuff. And after my mom passed, it's kind of similar. My dad and I went through a lot of health issues together with him, and like I said, very similar things, and saw the person underneath all that shell. So tell me some other stories out of there.
I don't think my dad's story is unique, but it's
an important story.
It's an important story.
We need to learn that generation because it's disappearing quick.
Well, the thing was with my dad, he was not a good father. He was great with everybody else, everybody liked him and whatever, but his soft spot was animals. And I wrote in the book, if you'll allow me to read this.
Please do.
The most bizarre animal Dad ever felt compassion for was Jiggs, a junkyard dog. Jiggs was chained by day, turned loose by night to patrol the chain-link fence lot. But Jiggs was old and no longer a vicious deterrent needed to protect the junk cars, so his owner prepared to shoot him. That's when my dad stepped in. He couldn't bear the thought of Jiggs just being shot and discarded like a bag of garbage. Dad put Jiggs in the back seat of his car and drove from northeast to Ripley, a distance of only 8 miles, with Jiggs' head looming over the front seat next to Dad's ear, slowly growling deep in his throat. Dad nervously drove home, and when he opened the door of the car, Jiggs thumped his tail and jumped out, apparently happy to be with someone. I was 3 years old when Jiggs came to live with us. My mother was not happy about it. He was a big, dirty, oily German shepherd and totally untrained for domestic living. I don't know how my father convinced my mother to give Jiggs a chance, but I knew he was given access to our house. He was shy and unobtrusive, and it didn't take him long to fit into the routine of the day. Evidently, all Jiggs needed was someone to love. That someone was me. I was told I rode Jiggs like a pony, but I don't remember that. I was told my father approached me and raised his voice one day, and Jiggs got up and stood between me and my father and bared his teeth and growled, and my dad backed off.
Ooh.
Jiggs laid back down. I continued doing whatever it was I wasn't supposed to be doing. What I do remember is napping with Jiggs in a sunny enclosed front porch. There may be a photograph, but I have a distinct memory of Jiggs curled up in the sun, and I would lay down next to him with my head on his rib cage, and we'd both fall asleep. One day Jiggs was gone, and the only explanation I ever got was that it was old and it was his time. I didn't know what that meant, but I missed that big stinky dog. He was my buddy, my playmate, my protector. If there's a dog heaven, I hope to see Jiggs at the Rainbow Bridge, because I don't believe I ever told him how much I loved him.
Great story.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sitting here listening. We didn't have a dog when we were kids. My dad prided his yard and his garden, and he just said, we're not going to have a dog. I don't want him messing in the yard and this and that, and so we didn't. And we've had dogs the whole time we've been married for 40 years, and our kids would go under the table with the dog and fall asleep under the table. So before I forget, folks, you're watching Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm Doc Hamels. My guest today is Robyn Albright, a local author, and we're discussing her book. And if you have a question or a comment, give us a call at 716-753-5225. And if you have any other ideas or comments for the show or announcements, give us a call at chautauquasunrise@gmail.com, okay? And so back to the story. So you said he was not a good father. Based on what? What were your indicators that he wasn't a good father?
He never had a kind word. He always pitted one kid against the other. This one was good, why can't you be like that one?
Oh, yeah, that, again, generational.
Yes.
My parents did that with me and my brother.
You never told your children that they were smart or good because it might go to their head.
I understand that.
Yeah, so it was that sort of thing. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of fighting. My folks fought constantly in my memory. School was my refuge. I loved school. It was my escape. It's where I could go and relax. And
You're not the only one who's told me that over the years. Interesting. Hey, we got some pictures.
Yes.
Let's not forget them. Jeff just reminded me of that. So why don't we run through the pictures and then we'll come back to the book. How's that?
sounds good.
All right, so now these pictures are in the book?
These pictures are in the book.
Okay, so go ahead,
Well-
Jeff. I'll just pop them up and you can narrate as we go along.
That's my dad, just before he passed away. That was from their 60th wedding anniversary. They were married for 2 more years after that before he passed away.
Wow. And how old was he when he passed?
90.
90.
Yeah.
Good age.
He wanted to live to be 90 years old, and he died of colon cancer, which he'd had for a number of years, but he made it to his 90th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was Doc Hamels.
Thank you. Thank you. I was wondering who that guy looked just like me. Okay, so this is from the book?
This is the book cover, yeah. The picture is my dad. He was 22 years old, I believe. This picture was taken in 1947, and it's 36 Ford that he's got his foot up on.
So why the title?
Jump on the running board occurs in the book 3 or 4 times. One of the times that it appears, my dad was in a field with his stepmother, and they'd gotten into it, he said, about something. He couldn't remember what. She took after him with a pitchfork. So they're running across the field. She's got the pitchfork, and he comes to a fence, and his dad happens to be driving by with an old car.
Oh my gosh.
He says, "Jump on the running board, boy, we'll beat her back to the barn." So my dad jumps on the running board. He's holding on to the post, and whoopee, yahoo! He's having a great time, and his stepmother's still coming after him with that
my
pitchfork.
gosh.
He says he's sure she would have stabbed him if she could have caught him.
This sounds like the Wizard of Oz.
I know. He slept in the barn for 3 days, 3 nights. He didn't dare go back in the house. That was just one of the episodes. Another one of the times when his father took him from his mother, she jumped on the running board of the car, had a flashlight in her hand. She's holding on. She's beating his father over the head with a flashlight.
Is this woman still alive?
No. He pushed her off the running board,
Oh my gosh.
as he's driving,
Did she have issues? Obviously.
obviously.
I mean,
yes.
we won't go there.
Yeah.
All right. Here's another picture.
Yes. This is the original picture.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What?
My sister suggested that I put this picture on the cover, and it was a wonderful suggestion. That's my dad and Charlie Jones. I don't know Charlie, never met him, but he was a friend of my dad's. And I asked a friend of mine, Stephanie Cunningham, who's a photographer in Ripley, if she could take Charlie out of that picture. And she did. She photoshopped it, put the background in, got rid of Charlie.
Where's this taken? Do you know?
I don't know. I
It
suspect
doesn't look like Rip. Well, it could be Rip.
it could be, but I suspect it was Sherman.
Okay. Hard to know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Keep 'em going, Jeff.
That's my dad at 4.5 years old.
Look at those long socks.
Yeah,
Oh, my
little knickers and long socks.
Yeah.
Now, my dad never hugged me, never kissed me, never told me he loved me, but I know he did because I have picture proof.
There it is.
That's me and my dad. I have
Got
3.
the same haircut. It never
Yeah,
grew.
I never thought about that. Yeah, I have 3 or 4 pictures where he's holding me or cuddling me, so I know he did hug me at one time, but I have no memories of it. That's Ripley Beach.
Yeah, I was going to say this got to be down along the lake. It looks-
Yeah.
You can see the cliffs.
Yeah.
Are there any more?
Yeah, I believe so. My dad never came to any school programs, concerts, never participated in any of his children's events. I wasn't sure he'd show up for my wedding, but he did.
That's you?
That's me.
No way.
Way.
That was. Is that your? All right. Long hair there. Wow.
And that was short compared to where I used to have it.
Really?
Yeah.
Your dad looks really quite thin there.
He was muscular. He wasn't heavy by any means. He was 5'5".
Oh, okay.
And, he...
And you're what, 4'6"? What?
Thank you.
5'5".
On a good day, I'm 4'11".
4'11".
I'm shrinking a little with old age.
We
but
all are.
Yeah. But yeah, that's him on my wedding day,
Okay.
which was great. He only yelled at me once. It's because my little brother kept peeking around looking at the congregation, and I yelled at him, so my dad yelled at me. So,
Leave him alone.
yeah, so we made it down the aisle.
Uh-huh.
And that's my mom and dad at their 60th anniversary photos, again taken by Stephanie Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
That photo is on their gravestone in the cemetery
Wow.
in East Ripley.
That's a very nice picture, very warm.
It is. It's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's it then.
I
Okay.
think so, yeah.
So I'm still a little lost. I got him growing up.
Mm-hmm.
You said he was in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you told me about Mogan David being a security guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I happen to know he worked for the railroad for a year and a half because my father-in-law worked with him.
He was.
That's a lot of years that I don't know about. So what was he doing all those other years?
Well, after being a Gandy dancer, I love that term.
A what?
Gandy dancer.
What's a Gandy dancer?
That's a guy who works on the railroad and
Oh.
swings an 8 to 10 pound maul and hits the
A
spikes.
Gandy dancer.
A Gandy
I
dancer.
pose that to my father-in-law.
Yeah.
I've never heard that term.
Yeah, he did that for a while. He drove truck for a lot of years. He hauled different things, like he would bring boats or cars, and we lived down on North State Street in Ripley across from what was the town barn.
Mm-hmm.
And he would park his semis over there, and he'd walk me over to see what it was he was hauling. My mother, when I got married the second time, my husband is a truck driver, and my parents were appalled. They had not met him. They expected a beer guzzling, cussing, womanizing, pot-bellied truck driver, and what they got was Bob, who's very, very meek and mild and,
Yeah, he
and
is.
soft-spoken. Yeah, and my mother pointed out to me that my dad was not a truck driver; he just drove a truck for a living. It was.
She had some image of what a
It-
truck driver is.
She had that image, and he was not that. He just drove a truck for a living.
Okay.
So when he got done driving, then he became a mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
He did diesel mechanics for many, many, many years.
yeah.
I didn't find out till very late in his life. He hated that job.
Yeah.
It was dirty and stinky and
Yeah, it
messy,
is.
and
Mhm.
and he didn't like it. He said, but he did it because he was good at
Paid the
it,
bills.
and there were a lot of jobs available.
Mhm.
He couldn't hold a job. He and I started counting up one time how many jobs he had had
my
over his
gosh.
lifetime.
Really?
When he got to 80, he stopped
Are you
counting.
kidding?
I'm not
Oh
kidding.
my gosh. Hey, we're down to 2 minutes.
Okay,
So you can read something out of the book, and we need to tell people where to get the book.
okay. Let me read this to you. I wrote
Okay.
this for my dad
Okay.
after he passed away.
For Bill.
We talked in snippets much of the time of things, some far and rare, but now you're gone, and I ponder alone the memories we used to share. Horse-drawn plows with boys riding skids and planting by the moonlight, churning butter and tapping trees and flying a homemade kite. We talked of war, then of peace, and imagined things to come, of life on Mars and further stars where we'd be when life was done. You showed me Orion's belt and a dim star below to the right. That's where you'd be, you told me, if I'd look on a starry night. I miss our chats come evening time and watching you in your chair, wondering how this man, my father, came to be sitting there. But I cannot wish you back. You're free without a care. All I have to talk to now is a worn and empty chair.
Wow.
Yeah.
Blue Collar Man, his life.
Yes.
How do people get a hold of this book?
They can order it on Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm.
If you order it from Amazon, you must put in the complete title, Jump on the Running Board, comma, a memoir of my father, Bill Neer. Otherwise, it won't come up.
Okay.
Or you can order it from me at robynnearalbright@gmail.com.
What's it cost?
$18.
Fair enough. That's what most books are going for.
Yeah.
All right. So, closing comments. Why should people read this book?
I think it's a flashback to another time. People of our generation, they'll read it and say, oh yeah, I remember that, I remember that. My children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren can look back and see what life was like back in the 1920s, the 50s, so on. I have no idea of what my ancestors did or what they looked like. Well, some of them I have pictures. The only thing I have is a poem that my great-great-grandmother wrote about an old porch floor.
Okay.
That's the only thing I know about
Fair
her.
enough. Robyn, thanks for coming by. I
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed this talk.
Thank you, Doc.
did.
I did too.
Okay, folks, check out Robyn Near Albright's book, Jump on the Running Board. We're going to do this all again next week. Have a great weekend. It's supposed to be pretty nice tomorrow. Do the best you can for today. That's all we got anyways. And send those messages and announcements in. We'll get them on the air. Take care. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye now.